Welcome to Gold Old Era, where we dive into Hollywood's untold stories. Today, we're counting down the top 10 toughest actors in history. Men who didn't just play heroes, but lived lives of raw courage and grit. From battlefields to bar fights, their real experiences shaped their legendary roles. And wait until you hear about number 4. His story is so jaw-dropping that the studio tried to keep it secret, fearing audiences wouldn't believe it. Stick around to uncover who he is and why his toughness was almost too incredible for Hollywood. Let's get started. What makes an actor truly tough? It's not just about looking strong or playing a hero. It's about living a life that tests your limits. The men on this list face wars, poverty, and personal battles, bringing unmatched authenticity to their roles. Many served in World War II, staring down death. Others clawed their way out of hardship, working grueling jobs as kids. Some risked everything performing their own stunts. According to historical accounts and military records in our research, these actors' real-life courage set them apart. Their stories aren't just inspiring. They're a window into a Hollywood era where grit was real. So, let's kick off our countdown with number 10. 1. Charlton Heston. Coming in at number 1 is Charlton Heston, whose commanding presence in Ben-Hur was no act. According to military records, he served as an aerial gunner on B-25 bombers during World War II, facing enemy fire high above the Pacific. This bravery shaped his heroic roles. For Ben-Hur's chariot race, Heston learned to drive a 4-horse team, a grueling test of strength and skill, enduring injuries but persisting. In the agony and the ecstasy, he painted with arms raised for hours to portray Michelangelo, enduring physical strain most would avoid. His role in Planet of the Apes demanded hours under heavy makeup in harsh desert conditions, showcasing his endurance. In the 10 Commandments, he worked in the brutal Sinai Desert, performing stunts himself. As documented in his biographies, Heston's moral courage shone through his leadership in the Screen Actors Guild and advocacy for civil rights. Marching with Martin Luther King Jr., he later championed gun rights, facing criticism head-on. 2. Anthony Quinn. At number 2 is Anthony Quinn, whose rugged charisma in Zorba the Greek came from a life of struggle. Born during the Mexican Revolution, Quinn faced poverty and violence, fleeing to the U.S. as a child, as noted in historical accounts. He worked as a butcher, boxer, and construction worker to survive, building a powerful physique through labor, not gyms. This authenticity fueled his roles. In Zorba, his iconic beach dance radiated vitality, while in Lawrence of Arabia, he played a fierce Bedouin leader with gripping intensity. In The Guns of Navarone, he climbed cliffs at 46, refusing stunt doubles. Quinn performed demanding stunts into his 60s, a testament to his enduring toughness. In Viva Zapata, he drew on his own hardships to portray a revolutionary with depth. His ability to show vulnerability without losing strength set him apart. 3. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum claims the number 3 spot on our countdown of Hollywood's toughest actors. His cool, menacing presence in films like Cape Fear rooted in a past as gritty as the characters he portrayed. Orphaned at a young age, Mitchum faced a childhood marked by instability, forcing him to fend for himself during the Great Depression. As a teenager, he became a hobo, hopping freight trains across America to survive. As detailed in his life story, he took on backbreaking jobs, ditch digging, coal mining, and even professional boxing under the name Jimmy Mitchum. His time in the ring wasn't just a youthful phase. It was a legitimate career that left him with a broken nose, adding to his rugged, weathered look that became a hallmark of his screen persona. According to historical accounts, Mitchum's boxing experience gave him real fighting skills, which he carried into his roles, making his physicality authentic and believable. Perhaps the most defining moment of Mitchum's early life was his arrest for vagrancy as a teenager, which landed him on a Georgia chain gang. This brutal experience exposed him to a harsh, violent world that most actors could only imagine. Surviving the chain gang's grueling conditions, shackled labor under the scorching sun, forged a resilience that Mitchum carried with him throughout his life. This wasn't a man who needed to act tough. He had lived through circumstances that demanded it. His ability to endure such hardships without breaking gave him a quiet strength that directors and co-stars noticed immediately. Mitchum's toughness wasn't just physical. It was mental and emotional. In 1948, He faced a major scandal when he was arrested for marijuana possession, a charge that could have ended his career in the conservative Hollywood time. Instead, Mitchum served a 60-day prison sentence with the same cool detachment that defined his screen characters. As reported in biographies, he emerged from the ordeal with his rebel image not just intact but enhanced, as audiences and industry insiders admired his unflinching composure. Director Edward Dimitri, who worked with Mitchum on Crossfire, noted, "Bob never had to prove how tough he was. He simply was tough, and everyone around him could sense it." This lack of bravado made Mitchum's toughness all the more compelling. It was authentic, not performative. On screen, Mitchum's real-life experiences translated into performances that felt raw and unfiltered. In The Night of the Hunter, his portrayal of the sinister preacher was chilling because Mitchum understood hardship and danger on a visceral level. His physical power was evident in scenes where he effortlessly carried co-star Shelley Winters, a demanding task he performed without strain, as noted by director Charles Laughton. Mitchum's ability to convey latent danger and cynical intelligence was an act. It was a product of a life spent navigating real-world challenges. In Crossfire, his morally complex character reflected the shades of gray in his own life. A man who had seen the best and worst of humanity during his hobo days and prison stints, Mitchum's approach to acting further underscored his toughness. He famously quipped, "Look, I have two acting styles, with and without a horse," a tongue-in-cheek remark that belied his deep understanding of his craft. Director Joseph von Sternberg described him as an actor who revealed himself rather than created characters, noting that the hardness in Mitchum's expressions was the accumulated experience of a difficult life. This authenticity set him apart in the film noir genre, where his roles in Out of the Past and Cape Fear showcase a man who could be both dangerous and introspective. Off-screen, Mitchum's laid-back attitude contrasted with his intense characters, adding depth to his persona. He didn't need to boast about his toughness. It was evident in every glance and gesture. For John Wayne, at number 4 is John Wayne, known as the Duke, a towering figure who embodied American grit in a way few actors ever have. Born Marion Morrison in 1907, Wayne grew up in the rugged environments of early 20th century California and Iowa, where physical labor was a way of life. Standing an imposing 6 feet 4 inches and powerfully built, Wayne's physicality was evident early on. As a young man, he excelled as a football player, earning a sports scholarship to University of Southern California, where his strength and athleticism stood out. Before his acting career took off, Wayne worked as a prop man and stuntman in Hollywood, often moving heavy set pieces single-handedly, a testament to his raw power, as documented in biographies. Wayne's toughness was most apparent in his willingness to perform his own stunts, even when it meant risking serious injury. During the filming of The Alamo in 1960, he insisted on performing a dangerous horse fall, resulting in cracked ribs. Rather than taking time to recover, Wayne had his ribs taped and continued directing and starring in the film, as noted in historical accounts. This wasn't an isolated incident. Wayne's commitment to authenticity meant he rarely used stunt doubles, even in his later years. Director John Ford, who collaborated with Wayne on classics like Stagecoach and Searchers, praised his endurance, saying, "Duke's toughness isn't an act. I've seen him work 14-hour days in desert heat that sent half the crew to the hospital for heat exhaustion, then get up the next day and do it again without complaint. He's made of something different than most men." Wayne's resilience extended beyond the set. In 1956, while filming The Conqueror in Utah's Snow Canyon, near Nevada nuclear test sites, he and the crew were exposed to radioactive fallout. This exposure likely contributed to his stomach cancer, diagnosed in 1979, which ultimately led to his death. Yet, even after undergoing major surgery in 1964 to remove a lung and several ribs, Wayne returned to work just months later, performing his own stunts in The Sons of Katie Elder. Director Henry Hathaway recalled trying to convince Wayne to use a stunt double, only for Wayne to respond, "Either I do my own stunts or you get someone else for the part." This unwavering dedication to his craft made his performances in westerns and war films like The Greatest Story Ever Told, filmed in brutal desert conditions, feel authentic and powerful. Wayne's toughness wasn't just physical, it was mental and emotional. His Oscar-winning role as Rooster Cogburn in True Grit mirrored his own perseverance, portraying a grizzled marshal who refused to back down despite overwhelming odds. His final film, The Shootist, was a poignant reflection of his battle with illness, as he played a dying gunslinger with a stoicism that echoed his own life. Even as his health deteriorated, Wayne's commitment to his work never wavered. Kirk Douglas, a frequent co-star, acknowledged Wayne's grit, saying, "Disagree with his views all you want, but don't question the man's toughness. I've seen him work through conditions that would send most men to the hospital." 5. James Cagney. James Cagney secures a number 5 spot. His explosive energy in The Public Enemy, a direct product of a rough upbringing on New York's Lower East Side. Born in 1899, Cagney grew up in a gang-ruled neighborhood where survival demanded toughness. Standing at just 5 feet 5 inches, he learned to box not as a sport but as a necessity, developing rapid footwork and lightning-fast hands to hold his own against larger opponents. His real street fighting experience gave him an intimate understanding of violence, which he brought to his roles, making his fight scenes quick, brutal, and efficient, far removed from the theatrical brawls typical of Hollywood. As reported in his life story, Cagney's boxing skills were honed through necessity, and he became an accomplished amateur fighter, a skill that set him apart in his acting career. Cagney's toughness extended beyond fighting. Before becoming an actor, he trained as a dancer, which gave him remarkable coordination and agility. This combination of street-honed combat skills and dance-trained grace made his physical performances uniquely dynamic. In The Public Enemy, his fight scenes were so realistic because he knew how to throw a punch with authentic technique. Director Raoul Walsh, who worked with Cagney on White Heat, noted, "Jimmy knew how to throw a punch better than any actor I ever worked with because he'd thrown plenty of real ones his day." His realism sometimes caught co-stars off guard. During the filming of The Public Enemy, Cagney actually shoved a grapefruit in actress Mae Clark's face, resulting in genuine shock and minor injury, as noted in production anecdotes. This raw intensity added a layer of authenticity to his performances that few could match that off-screen. Cagney's reputation as someone not to be crossed further solidified his tough guy image. Comedian Bob Hope once remarked, "Jimmy was the kind of guy who, if you tried something funny with him, would drop you where you stood and then help you up and dust you off afterward." This blend of street smarts and charm made Cagney a formidable presence in Hollywood. His ability to stand up to studio executives, often clashing over creative control, showed a different kind of toughness, one rooted in principle and self-respect. 6. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas, number 6, overcame extreme poverty to become a Hollywood icon. Born to Russian Jewish immigrants, he sold snacks and worked as a caddy and janitor to survive, as noted in biographies. A competitive wrestler in youth, he earned a university scholarship through his athletic prowess. He served as a communications officer on a World War II submarine chaser, facing constant danger, according to military records. On Spartacus, he trained with ex-gladiators and performed dangerous falls, recovering from injuries in days. His role as a boxer and champion drew on his physicality. After a 1991 helicopter crash and a 1996 stroke, Douglas continued acting and writing, showing remarkable resilience. His autobiography, The Ragman's Son, reflects his journey from hardship to stardom. Douglas's unyielding spirit defined his career. 7. Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, lands at number 7. His rebellious streak defined him, performing stunts like the iconic motorcycle jump in The Great Escape, as documented in film histories. A professional racer, he competed in the 12 Hours of Sebring, finishing second despite a broken foot, defying studio objections. In Bullet, his car chase scene reflected his love for speed. He nearly drowned in the sand pebbles and worked with real fire in the towering inferno. Before Hollywood, McQueen served in Marines, saving 5 lives during an Arctic exercise when their tank broke through ice, according to military records. But there's more to his story. Studios downplayed his background because it seemed too extraordinary. His military record included demotions and 41 days in the brig for insubordination, yet he earned respect for his courage. As a star, he learned he was on Charles Manson's hit list due to his connection with Manson's former girlfriend. Instead of hiring security, McQueen carried a .357 Magnum, refusing to back down, as reported in biographies. Studios feared publicizing this would make him seem too larger than life, risking disbelief. This pattern suggests a man who lived fearlessly, defying Hollywood's control. His daring added depth to every role, making him a legend. 8. Lee Marvin. At number 8 is Lee Marvin, whose chilling performances were grounded in real violence. A Marine during World War II, Marvin fought in the Battle of Saipan, where he was severely wounded by machine gun fire, severing his sciatic nerve and earning a Purple Heart, as per military records. His combat experience informed roles like the tough sergeant in The Dirty Dozen, where his leadership echoed wartime service. In Point Blank and The Killers, his relentless Avenger roles unnerved audiences with their realism. Off-screen, Marvin's toughness shown in a bar fight against lumberjacks while filming in Oregon, holding his own and showing up to set bruised but refusing medical attention, as noted in anecdotes. His blend of physical power and intellectual depth made him formidable. Marvin's authenticity raised the bar for action stars, showing how real violence shaped his craft. 9. Charles Bronson. Number 9 is Charles Bronson, whose rugged look was earned through hardship. Born Charles Buczynski into poverty as one of 15 children, he worked in coal mines from age 10, as noted in historical accounts. During World War II, he served as AB-29 gunner, flying 25 combat missions over Japan and earning a Purple Heart. Before acting, he held over 50 jobs, including boxing, honing his fighting skills. His fight scenes in Death Wish were authentic because Bronson knew real combat. When the film sparked mafia death threats, he declined bodyguards, showing unshakable resolve, as reported in biographies. In The Magnificent Seven and The Mechanic, his quiet strength resonated with audiences. Bronson's life of labor and war shaped a persona that proved toughness wasn't just an act. 10. Audie Murphy. At number 10 is Audie Murphy, the most decorated U.S. soldier of World War II. At 19, he single-handedly held off a German company for an hour in France, then led a counterattack while wounded, earning the Medal of Honor and 28 medals, including 5 from France and Belgium, as military historians confirm. He killed an estimated 240 to 300 enemy soldiers. Into hell and back. He played himself, but some heroics were toned down for believability. His boyish, 5 feet 5 inches appearance belied his lethal skill, making him a paradox of toughness. Other war films showcase his authenticity. Despite severe PTSD, sleeping with a loaded pistol and battling nightmares, Murphy maintained composure in Hollywood. As noted in his life story, his combat instincts once surfaced publicly, terrifying a businessman during an argument. His legacy challenges us to redefine toughness, blending physical courage with mental resilience. The lasting impact of Hollywood's toughest actors. The toughness of actors like Audie Murphy, Charles Bronson, Lee Marvin, Steve McQueen, Kirk Douglas, James Cagney, John Wayne, Robert Mitchum, Anthony Quinn, and Charlton Heston left an indelible mark on Hollywood, setting a standard for authenticity that shaped entire genres and continues to influence how we perceive cinematic heroes. Their real-life grit, rooted in military service, poverty, physical labor, and personal resilience, brought a visceral authenticity to war films, westerns, and action movies that modern cinema often struggles to replicate. This analysis explores their profound impact, contrasts their era with today's reliance on technology and image, and raises questions about the future of toughness in Hollywood. What does toughness mean in today's Hollywood? Are there actors with the grit of Murphy or McQueen? Technology lets stars portray danger without living it. Does that lessen their impact? Modern toughness might include emotional resilience or navigating fame's pressures. But can it compare to combat or poverty? How do these stories resonate with younger audiences unfamiliar with these icons? Sharing their tales might bridge generations, celebrating a lost era of authenticity. What do you think? Are there stars today who match this toughness? Or has Hollywood changed forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, and subscribe for more Hollywood deep dives.